podcast.
I usually gotta yell a little bit in the beginning so that, get ready. I need to do laps around this room, so just to get in the spirit.
Pump it up.
Yes. If you ever want to hear a really good yes, you should listen to a song called B by Common. There's never been the word yes spoken in such a beautiful manner. Anyways, what's up, people? Welcome to Creative Theory Podcast, a show that brings you conversations with visual artists about how they got to where they got, what their day-to-day is like, what their struggles are, what their goals are, thoughts on the art world, and a lot more. My name is Ilya. I realize when I listen back to his recordings that I forget to say my name, but that's not so important. It's all about the guest, and today we got a pretty incredible artist in the room. She's a designer, fine artist, and I think we'll have to figure out which one comes first. Illustrator, creative. She is also one of the hardest working artists I think I know.
That's
amazing. Sweet. Tierney Milne. By the way, I always forget. Milne? Is that how you say it?
Milne, yeah.
Milne. Okay.
That's right.
Nailed it.
You're
Thanks,
so good. Even getting my first name right, that's impressive.
how do people mess it up?
Oh, a million ways. Even my grandmother couldn't pronounce it properly.
All right. Well, she's not allowed to not pronounce
yeah.
it. At least we get a pass. Thanks so much for making it to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We are currently on Hastings Street in Vancouver in Save on Meats, and so it happens that Tierney just finished a mural on this exact building just a couple of days ago, right?
Yes, a couple days ago.
And
although it's hard to, I don't know, it doesn't even feel like a couple days ago because we were working through the night.
Yeah, and you're just saying you're actually just adjusting from the night shifts, so you gotta...
yes.
Do you want to speak a little bit about the process on that one?
Definitely. We were only able to work on this mural outside Save on Meats during the evening when the restaurant had closed, so it was a very, very challenging process. Yeah, we were working from about 8 p.m. to 6 or even as late as 7 a.m. It was, I've never really done much graveyard shifts before, but yeah.
Little did you know that when you got into arts, and I guess we should mention you're freelancing. Luckily, you don't have to go to a job.
No,
anymore.
thank goodness. Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be in for that, but it was fun. It was a really good time.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, before we continue, for people, I just saw you posted a video of the process. And so, while you're listening, if you want to check it out, it's at Tierney Milne on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you guys will have to figure it out.
Yeah, good luck.
About murals, and actually, so as I mentioned, one of the hardworking artists I know. I think you've been. It's been really cool to follow along and see the kind of projects you've been getting. It seems like quite a lot of murals lately, right?
Yeah, as the weather improves, we see more of them pop up, although we've been working a lot in terrible weather too this season. We painted one in the snow.
Actually?
And it was awful.
Was that Maker Lab?
Eastside Flea.
Eastside Flea, okay.
Yeah, so we've been really getting down to layering and figuring out how to work in the cold, but yeah, there's been a lot of murals lately.
So what you're saying is that you don't say no?
No, I love them too much, and it's really for me it's really about bringing people together to do them. I don't often do solo murals anymore, just for my own enjoyment. I can, but yeah, it's so fun just to kind of put a little team together and make it sort of a little block party event.
You're building the squad. Do you already have the A team, or are you still slowly building it?
There's an ever-growing team, that nice. I can call on. It's really cool. People are so excited, I think, after Mural Fest especially, to just get their hands dirty and just find a low-pressure way of just getting experience. So, there's been a lot of people.
That's pretty awesome. And I think the fact that it is out there and it's visible, but also because it's so big, I mean, all those things combined make sense that people want to join you, but then you also want people to help out.
Yeah, and it's really low risk for them because inevitably I'm gonna touch up anything that doesn't quite work out. So do they all get offended? He's like, God, that brushstroke was so nice, and then Tierney came along. I might wait till after they leave. I don't know. No, it's all good. It's super fun to meet people that way.
Are you gonna be like what's his name, Damien Hirst, or you're gonna have a work what do you call You're going to just a team of artists working for you. You're going to come and put some brushstrokes on.
No,
you're not going to turn into that.
No,
this is not where this is going. Is what
no,
you're saying?
I felt that way at the exhibit at the Vancouver Art Gallery when you see the process videos of him, and he's kind of dictating to a team of 800 to exactly. Screen print every little thing for him. And I don't know,
that's not your thing.
I don't think I could.
You don't think you're going that way?
No,
because if you want to make money as an artist, if you want to make big money, it seems like the people who are in that world and they're earning lots, it seems to be the tactic. Even at the Vancouver Art Gallery,
Murakami, yeah.
I think same thing with him, but from what I heard, at least he gives a lot more credit to the team that he works with.
Oh, I'm sure. I think just being that removed from it, though, maybe I'm like a control freak or something, but I can't imagine not really
You'll
having
never let
my
it go.
hands in it. Yeah. I don't know.
And I guess as far as murals go, do you have goals for where this practice is going?
Not exactly, although I feel like I had a bit of an epiphany when we were working on this basketball court mural during the summer, this last summer, because for the first time it wasn't, just for an office space, which is still great, and I love doing those, but, it wasn't just kind of inside and for a very specific audience. It was suddenly really just more broadly appreciated and accessible for people, and they could go and play, and like seeing kids just really enjoying the space especially. I think I'd like to do more things that are just more publicly accessible.
So that was a revelation?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
You just don't want to stay inside anymore?
I mean, I will, especially if it's snowing, and maybe I'll, take an inside mural instead of
That's
those
because we're in Vancouver.
The weather's getting crazier,
Crazier in a good way or bad way?
I think both.
Yeah.
We're getting to be more like the East Coast, maybe, where you get both extremes more often. Yeah.
And you're from Montreal? Right?
Yes. Yeah. Born there, but raised here. So I feel like I could never move back.
But you know what the winters are like.
No, they're very, very extreme. You have to deal with like -40 all the way to +40.
You're right, though. At least like here, even in winter, you can still paint a mural. It's bad, but it's manageable. Like,
it was. We were actually getting away with it. Like the paint was.
It was drying.
It was drying.
I remember it's one thing. I was doing one, and it was like January or February or something like that, and I didn't. I mean, I don't know about you, but every day I just had to check the weather, or like, a couple of times a day just to make sure and I would paint after work, so it'd be, like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be dry painted, and then it rained the next day, came back, and I used this like quinacridone red.
So well, yeah. Oh, I feel you.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
Just poured.
Painting the Tight Club little basketball mural thing a couple weeks ago, we only had 3 days to do it, and we just had to deal with the weather, but it was raining for a lot of it and a lot of dripping, and it's just it just hurts your soul.
What was this one?
In East Van at Tight Club Athletics. Okay. Yeah, they have like a little kind of basketball court.
Okay. See, I'm just trying to remember because I've seen
has a big happy face.
I've seen what you posted. Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, for everyone who's listening, you see how she's mentioning murals like. One last week, one 2
They're
weeks
all
ago,
passion
1 3
project
weeks ago.
ones,
Oh yeah.
I find a lot of my most favorite projects are self-initiated, so it's fun.
Because nobody tells you what to do.
Not even for that, but there's just so much satisfaction at the end when it works out, and you know that you've kind of played a big role in making it happen and get I don't know, catalyzing it.
Yeah. No, I can totally relate to that, and especially when it's something that is that big.
Yeah.
You get a pretty good feeling. It's not the same as, if you made let's say like 20 by 30 a piece at home.
No, those are great
good.
too.
I know it feels good. Oh, okay. No, but it's just by the fact of the medium and the scale, it feels different. But also one thing I've noticed is just like you get immediate response.
Yeah.
While with your work, I mean, unless you're posting it, but even then, until you got an art show, you're. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done an art show in a while, but I'd like to. And in the meantime, I feel like the murals, they're sort of these high impact, really satisfying, fun, I don't know, productions to work on. I used to work in theater, and for me it feels very similar to sort of assembling a cast. You get your video people and your projection person and like your photo people, just having and all the painters and getting to bring them all together and really like manage that.
Is that what you did in theater? Which were
I was a stage manager.
Wow.
So I worked, on musical theater productions, and I would just like be doing all the scheduling and, documenting where everyone was going on the stage and stuff like that. So for me, this is my little foray into sort of stage managing.
That's cool. And was that here in Vancouver?
Yeah, it was on the North Shore and in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a pretty interesting start from there to now full-on arts.
It's been a journey.
I do want to chat about the art show you brought up a little later, but as far as murals in the medium, what's apart from a couple of things you mentioned, like what specifically makes it special for you? Because as you said, it doesn't look like you're going to stop. But
no, it's not even about the painting necessarily. Like I'm not married to the medium of painting, but I really enjoy getting to work with a client. To really think about the space that it's going into and how it can really work with that space to make people feel a certain way. So for me, my background too, I studied psychology at UBC. So
That's
for
right.
me, it's like the psychology of a space, whether it's outdoors where people are going to be playing or whether it's in their office or wherever it might be.
Mhm.
I think that's the part that I get most excited about with murals, strangely.
That's awesome. So what would be the first, like, let's say, like the main criteria you think about when you start on a project? Like, is it the client's, I mean, I guess like feel, or is it like, does the space come first? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like approaching a design brief, because in school, I feel like I'm just jumping all over the place.
No,
But
that's
when
good.
I did, after I finished psychology,
Yeah.
I went into advertising and illustration, like a program for that. So
Awesome.
we were always working on briefs and trying to really think about the client and designing for, what's right for them, not necessarily what they're telling you they want, like being able to translate those things and try and work on presentations to really like massage them into
I'm
a
just trying
concept.
to sell it to them.
Yeah, and doing it in a way that feels, authentic and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. So for me, starting there, hearing about what their goal is, like how their personality can shine through, translated through your style, and how all those pieces work together.
Do you want to speak a little bit more about the psychology and how that, how did that, so your first choice was not art?
No, for some reason I thought art would not be, I don't know, a real career choice for me.
Who told you that?
I don't. No one
people tell you
really,
that, really?
actually. Like
Okay.
my parents never said that. They were very supportive. I always did art, but I really wanted to be in sciences. I think I had this idea of like being a doctor and having that be, very respectable, and I felt very passionate
nice.
about it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after doing psychology and seeing how you could apply psychology, and really, I think it was like more the applied psychology that I got excited about.
But so what changed then? How many years did it take for you to realize that's not where you wanted to go?
I got to the end of my degree and I was working, doing marketing and like advertising on the side while I was doing my degree. So after I finished, I'm like, I need to study this.
You're cheating on
for real.
psychology.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went right away into another program after that.
Wow, cool. So I guess school after school. That's good.
So
You
much
didn't-
school.
yeah.
I could have been a doctor by now.
Would you
yeah.
be-
10 years.
It's okay. You're making really cool things.
Yeah.
Do you think you would go back to school? Would you consider?
No, I don't.
You're done with that.
No, art is really exciting, and I think I've now realized that you don't really need to be in school at this point to branch into new areas. You can really break into them sort of organically and pick up skills on your own and just learn on the job, So I don't think I would, I don't think I'd go back.
Are you pretty good at teaching yourself?
In the past, I have been. I'm really
In the past,
trying
huh?
to motivate myself right now to learn 3D software. It's like my current thing. I'm getting inspired by our mutual friend, Mark Illing,
Yeah.
who's really
Hello, Mark. You're
teaching
awesome.
himself everything about 3D
Yeah.
software. So yeah, that's mine.
Is that the future? 3D? That's where it's going?
I think I need to. I
Yeah.
feel left behind. I don't know. Everyone's learning so much new software.
Well, you're playing a lot with projections, it seemed like. Is that the
Yeah.
main motivator?
Yeah, I've always been really excited by the digital realm, and
Mhm.
I started playing with Photoshop when I was like 9, and
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I've always loved that side of things, but finding ways to bring together like traditional and digital is really exciting to me.
Mhm.
So you know, making kind of extruded physical tactile pieces and then throwing projections onto them is a really cool sort of marriage of that for me.
I can definitely relate to that. And I think it's interesting within those mediums how to gain benefits out of both at the same time. Because one is, like you said, tactile. The other one can be limitless. I always wonder, unless that's not the goal, is how to... Because you can spend a lot of time in digital and then kind of like how to make sure that that time is as useful as possible, as maximized. Let's say, well, the thing is that you do graphic design, you understand, like, and I think quite often I see you start in digital and then go to traditional.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I'm saying is, like, how can you find ways of having the digital product also be part of the final piece?
Totally.
Whether it's like,
yeah.
will you make prints of it that would be digital and then people can compare, or maybe they can see both. I know there was no question there, but maybe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, you know, incorporating it into sharing your process, I think is cool. People always love seeing sort of a peek behind the curtain and being able to share that's interesting. But also, I don't know, for me, projecting is just that, like being able, it's so magical to see something that seems sort of mundane on your computer screen, some sort of digital whatever, and then projecting it onto any kind of surface that has those variations and things going on, immediately you're like, wow, that digital image is so cool.
Totally.
Now in my physical space. So I don't know.
I see you post those photos.
Yeah, I get so excited. Like, it really doesn't get old to me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I love how also it can wrap around the form, and I guess that's what you're playing with as well. Yeah. Especially if it's like, even organic. Like some photos you take where you're projecting onto yourself and the way the colors bend. Unlimited possibilities, basically.
Yeah, my friend is working on some projection mapping kind of technique right now where you could map onto your hands and kind of move them around.
To track it?
Yeah, so neat. Like, there's just, everything's changing so quickly, and there's just so many opportunities there. It's really exciting.
I guess it's like you said, you got to stay on top of the software, basically, because that's like a lot of it is very accessible.
Yeah. Or just stay in touch with people who know about that. That's kind of
just keep everyone.
I don't know. I found in school I just couldn't code. I really tried and I wanted to learn and like be on top of that, but at this point my brain, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work well with it, and I just like to know people who know how to code.
Exactly. Hey, once again, keep building that A team. Yeah. Well, it's myself. It's a slow realization of like, oh, I actually don't think I can do everything I want to do.
Yeah. So it's a hard pill to swallow. Yeah.
Well, but then you're saying here that you would not let go of that process, which is cool, because I wouldn't be. I'm just like you. I would not want to not touch a piece that's being created that's supposed to be part of something I'm making.
Well, I think you also get sort of interesting, happy accidents when you translate back and forth between traditional and digital. Yeah. I find for myself, anyways, and you never really know what sort of interesting texture might be added, or I don't know, something comes up. So it's fun to keep moving back and forth between the two throughout your process, I think.
Are you going to start doing 3D printing as well once you figure out that 3D world?
Oh, I'm actually working on a collaboration with a friend where he's 3D printing some patterns, and then we're going to like paint on top of them.
There you go.
There's always something to play around with.
You're doing everything. I think you're actually doing that's awesome.
I have a hard time focusing on one thing. I like to keep my hands in a lot of different
But you
buckets.
seem to be you seem to be finishing pieces, though, even though you say you may be distracted in that sense.
I'm trying. They're slowly getting finished. There's a lot of unfinished things
in
my apartment right now.
Tell me how many pieces or projects you have on the go that are not finished right now.
Probably like 10,
okay,
5 to 10. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. In various stages of completion. Some are just ideas, but ideas that I know I'm going to do.
Which one are you most excited about?
Oh boy, that's hard.
You have to pick a baby. What's the best?
I think right now, my friend Dylan Ham, we're talking about doing a photo collaboration where we're going to be laser cutting a whole bunch of different shapes and things like that, and then hanging them in front of people and doing kind of different portraiture. But I'm excited about the challenge of getting to create kind of real 3D shapes and getting to play with the depth that you hang them at and how that affects the portrait and how the person's interacting with them. I don't know.
Is the object going to cover the person?
Partially. It'll depend. There's going to be different compositions. Some of it will be semi-transparent acrylic.
Yes, we talked about that.
Some of it will be probably painted foam or MDF.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that sounds really
getting
cool.
to play with those kind of skills, the making skills, is something I'm excited about right now.
And when you're doing all of these projects, do you always have a goal in mind for where to go with it or with applications, or does that come after?
It really depends. For some of these self-initiated ones, I think it's, especially the collaborations, it's just things that we've wanted to have an excuse to work with for a while. And I find with client work, most of the time I'm doing something self-initiated first that's then inspiring a client to be like, oh, you do that, I want that. That's and awesome. So otherwise they're never going to know that I'm either interested in it or am doing it or want to be doing it more. So I figure it's usually an outcome of like, I'd like to do this and I'd like an excuse to try it out first.
But it's a way better way, it seems to be a better way to go, because then they're not asking you to be something else or trying to be like someone else, where they're asking you to be you.
Exactly. I mean, they still often ask you to be someone else in a way, but still.
You just got to dodge those, just dodge them.
Stay you as much as possible, I guess. Right. Yeah.
You pretend you didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move away from murals, I want to ask that, and you don't have to talk numbers, but as far as doing murals over other art, What do you financially do you find that, like, let's say compared to, I mean, art shows or other projects, would you say that's out of all the things you could be doing that the most profitable? Maybe is that the right word? Like as far as like making money through art.
Yeah, I think it depends on the season, to be honest. But when it's going well, I'd say I'm making most of my money from murals.
Wow.
When it's not, then no. You'll do other commissions or more design work or whatever it might be. Like it's always kind of flexing and changing. But yeah, I think it can be profitable if you make a point of working with people who respect the worth and value of your time and also the thing that you're creating. So I think I do think that Mural Fest is helping that by just like giving visibility and importance to these pieces. But there are still a lot of people in the city, I think, who don't think that it's worth very much or that you should be able to do it for exposure or whatever.
Oh, of course, Of course,
getting
paid with exposure. But the problem is that I think that's just all arts in general.
I know.
Like, unless people are artists, often they don't realize the amount of effort and work it goes into it.
Yeah.
I think the reason I was asking about murals, I think the kind of the saving grace there is because of scale. People at least kind of grasp onto that, where they feel like, oh, that will take a lot of time because look how big it is. Where a painting can take.
I'd like to think so. Although some people, I don't know.
Because a painting can take more time than a mural, but then people can be like, oh, was that like $50?
Yeah, how small. Oh, yeah.
Well, so I feel like that's why at least with murals, when let's say whatever you're charging, you can kind of people at least justify it in their mind a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Totally. I know some people that charge per square foot or whatever. At least you can, it's a bit easier to potentially price, I guess, although I don't usually find that it's easier to price. But yeah, it can be.
Pricing is just not easy at all. It's
the worst.
You got to feel it out every time. Yeah. But because you can do so many things. You can wear so many hats, like you said, whether it's design work, fine art, murals, and all the other things in between there. Yeah. Would you say, because design work, depending on the clients, can be pretty good too.
And I don't know, and it kind of bleeds into other areas. Like I was working on a project that hasn't been completed yet, but it's going to be sort of like a wall mural, but all sort of three-dimensional and laser cut from different layers of MDF. So I don't know, I didn't think I'd ever be doing that. I don't necessarily have a skill set for making a large sort of wood wall, but now I'm excited, once you do it, you do it.
That's how you know how to do it. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
Let's get back on track here. So when I was looking on your website, in your bio, you wrote, let's see, when not doing is that an old one?
I don't know when I wrote it.
Let's find out what it is. When not doing commercial pieces, Tierney pursues her own artwork, mural, and stop motion animation projects. Okay. But you mentioned that you were doing passion projects. So how much of your commercial work is are the lines blurring between the?
They're definitely blurring. Yeah, they're blurring a lot, and it's tricky. I think I've done a string of kind of passion projects that are more on the pro bono end recently, and then I know it often swings full back to only doing commercial pieces for a while, and then I don't know, it's all over the place. It hasn't really been like a consistent pattern yet, but I like doing all of it.
Does it mean you're happier lately because you're doing the project like you said you're
It's tricky because then you're happier in your soul, but then your bank account is so angry.
Bank account is not happy.
And then when my bank account's happy and my soul is often not as happy.
You feel like a sellout.
You can never win.
Maybe one day there'll be a balance.
Yeah, I think more and more that's the goal, right? More and more you're working with people who actually do have money and also respect your creative input and vision, and those two things will come together. Or
in their mind, they can justify paying you. You're like, oh, this person has done it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're all working up the same hill.
But when you talked about the pro bono, the work, usually, as you just mentioned, a lot of that would lead to paying projects eventually. It's like you said, you have to do it to show that you can do it, and then.
Yeah, I don't mind here and there. Sometimes it gets a bit much, and you're like, okay, I can't handle any of these exposure projects or whatever it is, but I'm still feeling good about the ones that I do, and you have to be selective, I think. I'm
always torn with that, and especially there's quite a bit of talk about that in the entertainment, like animation or game industry.
Yeah.
On that side, I often people hear say that you shouldn't work for free because what you're doing. Like if a studio can get away with making you work 3 extra hours a day for overtime and you're doing it for free, you're basically saying that that's okay and everyone else should do the same thing. So at least in kind of the entertainment world, I can see how shouldn't do it because you're basically hurting others. So it's like
For
you
sure.
shouldn't work for too little, because once again that gives a precedent that maybe that's hard, it should get paid, and it's a weird one. But then, you know, on this side where it's like these commercial but like freelance solo projects, where it's a tough one in my mind. You know, it's like you're saying exposure work, you know, it's been a huge conversation in the art world.
Yeah, I'm against exposure work for the honestly, I am. Like
I like that. That's what I think. It's a thing. Exposure work.
You know, sometimes I'll say yes to projects where I know I'm either not going to make any money, or maybe I'll even lose money. I don't know. You know, certain scenarios where I'm just so excited about the idea of bringing this into life that I, as an independent kind of freelancer, decide, okay, I'm going to do this, and I can afford to do this time because it's worth it to me to get this into my portfolio, and I really want to do it. So like I'll do that now and then, but usually I'll either charge full price or do something for free. Like I don't like the idea of doing it like heavily discounted, because then I think you do fall into this weird place where you're just giving them weird expectations about what the work is worth.
Totally, yeah. I guess it's just about being realistic. And
yeah,
I'm not saying I haven't done it. I've done that before as well, where I've done projects for, it's like either for free, or, you know, you can see the benefits where they're going, the people you work for, you respect, so you're okay with doing that. But it's just a really tricky area, I find.
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
It's so tricky, and it's very easy to feel kind of taken advantage of potentially, you know, and
especially when you're halfway into the project, right?
Yeah.
When it hits you in the
Yeah.
beginning, you're like, yeah, this is going to be the best thing, and then you realize the texture of the wall sucks, and you're like, oh, this is going to take
And
like
as
2
your
times.
days pass by, you see the numbers flying by, you're like, oh, I would have made this much. Or
Yeah, you can't think about that. No, you can't.
No, definitely not.
It's like when you go shopping and realize, like, if you buy something, you're like, oh, this would have this cost me this many hours of my life.
Yes.
Never think that way.
I know. It's hard not to sometimes as a freelancer.
Yeah, totally. So let's see. You were, I think when I met you, I think you were at Lululemon actually.
Yes,
so
probably, yeah.
You did the big move from studio work to freelance, and I think
Yes.
I think that's where around I met you. How was that transition?
It was really great at the time because I think I was really ready to get out of there. I loved being there, but I just doing kind of the 9 to 5 and then coming home and having a quick dinner and then working from, 7 to 1 and then getting up again. Like it was just, when you do that months on end, it just wears you down so much. And so many opportunities were coming up that I felt restricted by work hours and I couldn't really pull them off. So it seemed like a really smart choice at the time. It wasn't very difficult. I
That's
think
pretty
as
awesome.
as it went on, it got more difficult.
I love how you said, see, you did drop there at the time.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of riding the high for a while, and it's still great. Like, obviously, there's trade-offs for doing freelance, but I still love freedom over anything, I think, and that's why I stayed doing it. But yeah, I mean, socially, it's such a shock. I was working in a place with 1,000 people, and you have friends to go, and you'd work out all the time, and that was part of your work day. You were essentially getting paid to like work out, and then it switches to you being like, I gotta get myself like out of my desk to like do some push-ups or something alone in my office. Like, it's just a big shift.
Are you okay with being alone?
Yeah, I think in general.
I guess that's why it's been working.
Yeah, it works. Like, you just have to find ways to pull people into your life, which is for me why murals and making that a social thing is so fun and like important to me.
When you made the switch, when you did make the decision, did you think you were comfortable financially?
Yeah, I was getting paid pretty well there. I was in a good spot, so I feel like I was able to save up enough that I felt comfortable making that switch. And also jobs were coming up.
That's what I was
regularly
saying. But
enough.
You saw enough jobs that you would be okay. Yeah,
I saw enough jobs, and it seemed like a good trajectory. It seemed like things were kind of building momentum, and it seemed good.
I feel like I'm the kind of person who would want it to be kind of a little bit safe. I don't think I'm...
It definitely didn't feel safe.
No?
Like,
Okay,
I didn't like, oh, like everything's going to be A-okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely risk and a sense of risk. But there was part of me that felt like if I didn't do it, I was just going to wonder if what it could have been if I had put all of my energy into doing it. And I was worried that I was going to regret that later on and feel like, oh, like, why did I play it safe? Or why did I have these golden handcuffs? Why didn't I, like really give it a try? So, yeah.
No, but what I meant is that at least to me, it makes sense to do it when you do see work coming, rather than like, hey, I have 1 week project freelance. It's time to switch to freelance full on.
Totally, yeah.
I'm sure 100 of the projects are kind of in right after.
It was definitely where the situation where it was so busy that I decided to leave work, like kind of thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a really good place to be in. Oh, what was the hardest part of the transition? Although I guess you said it was easy, so maybe it's not.
I think just the lack of consistency, the lack of schedule for yourself, just having to really be on top of that every day and knowing, I guess, too, even though things were busy for quite a while when I went freelance, there are times when it's not super busy, and then like the psychology of that and not overthinking it and not being like, it's because I'm no longer like relevant and I should stop,
classic artist
stuff, right? There's all those mind games that go on, so like riding that wave and like okay, let me work on my website, things like that, and learning how to like deal with those patterns as you get through the first year of freelance.
Are you good at promoting yourself?
I don't know.
Is Instagram working for that?
I only go on Instagram. I really enjoy it. I think you need to do what you enjoy, because I think some people try and do Instagram and they hate it, and you can tell that it's like pulling teeth for them, whereas other people really enjoy it, and then you can that kind of shines through too. So yeah, I don't really do much else.
But what if they, so you're saying if they don't want to do Instagram, how do they, what should they do? They got to promote themselves.
I don't know, maybe just in person, maybe like a website.
Walk around with flyers.
Not everyone, I guess, is on social media, but like, yeah, it definitely helps.
You just dropped some advice. What other things would you mention to people jumping into freelance world?
Make sure that you have enough self-discipline to get you by, and that you feel comfortable making your own schedule and really sticking to it and finding ways to like incorporate self-care into your life. I don't know, a lot of the artists I know are just terrible at it, myself included, a lot of the time. And having a good social support network where you have plans to meet up for coffee or work alongside somebody else or whatever, or get into a studio or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Gotta make sure people don't forget you. Oh, yeah.
No.
What happened to you?
No, not even that. Just so you stay sane. I don't know. It's like me and my cats alone for days on end sometimes. I'm like, oh, no, I need to get out of the house.
Just turn into a cat lady.
It's already happened.
Yeah. You're collecting cats?
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
You have a couple? Yeah. Gotta keep building it. You don't paint your cats, though.
No.
Why not? They feel neglected.
They're black. They're just two black cats that have no... Anytime I try and photograph them even, there's no detail captured. They're just these blobs. So I don't know.
Just gotta dye their hair.
It might work well for my style, actually. It's two black polka dots. Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I'll really abstract them down.
I see a piece coming up of your cats. Let's see. What was the most important thing you learned while being at Lululemon?
Ooh, well, it was such a big company that I think I really learned the importance of how to just kind of work within a hierarchy, like a business hierarchy like that, and work under so many different levels, and just dealing with how to get approval with all these different types of people and how to present to big rooms of people and get your concepts across in like a corporate setting. That was really helpful for me, kind of going into freelance and knowing how to present ideas and really try and persuade somebody.
Can't let them intimidate you.
No, I don't. It's not very intimidating in there. Everyone was super friendly, and I don't know.
You're part of this giant group working together.
Yeah.
And I guess how's the difference in feeling like making an impact? You know what I mean? Like going from that to making your work. Yeah, was that valuable?
It was a really good place to be for me after design school, because when you come out of that, you're just this like haggard skeleton of a designer, and you've been just killing yourself for 3 years. And for me, getting to be in an environment where they not only paid you well as a designer, which was kind of rare for my classmates were getting into studios where they were just barely scraping by with money, and they're like, oh, do you need benefits, kind of thing. Where Lululemon, you just get great benefits, and it was just like a nice kind of place to regroup and mentally just like get healthy again and work out before going off and doing freelance and getting unhealthy again,
That's good. You're selling freelance as well. But I guess that just shows how much you wanted to do this kind of lifestyle, that you did leave such a comfortable place.
Yeah, I'd like to think that it can get to a more balanced place where I'm, it's not quite as extreme, but for the time being, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I have a lot of kind of creative control, and just control over my life and the projects, and yeah.
But you don't think you're going to do something like 1 year on, 1 year off?
No, at this point, no. I could see myself maybe working in some kind of agency or something later down the line, or maybe making a little studio with some friends and trying to do something like that. Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, that'd be more up my alley, I think.
That sounds like a good plan. What are you going to call it?
I don't know. Maybe I'll just come join your studio.
Okay, well, we'll build a fort. We'll start making art. It's going to be cool. Conquer all the walls. Yeah, a lot of walls, so you got to keep working on that.
I know, there's a lot of space to grow into.
You just got to let people, get people to give you permission. Actually, that's...
that's the big challenge.
How has it been working for you, especially since you're saying you're self-initiating, doing some self-initiated projects?
Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. Like it worked out well here at Save on Meats, and it worked out well at Tight Club, but I think it just depends on who you know, or if you know people who know people, and just trying to bug everybody in your social network to kind of find something fruitful. Otherwise, I guess you could just randomly go around and location scout and, I don't know, find someone to bug about it.
Yeah.
Have you been doing that?
A bit. It helps to know people.
Yeah.
People are very scared of art for some reason, and are saying yes to it.
Yeah, it's true.
Why do you think? Do you think there's too much bad art out there?
I don't know. It's weird to me because, especially now with Mural Festival going into its third year, you think that people would be really, really hyped about the idea of having their very own mural.
Yeah.
But it's a work in progress. I feel like we're winning the city over slowly. Lately, it's been a little hard, like having been needing to find some walls, and oh my god, it also takes so long. Like if you want to do it the proper way and get the permissions, you're just going to be waiting in that. Forever.
Yeah,
I know. We tried to do it the proper way, and it took too long. So
you did? Okay,
I did it the improper way.
I was going to say this is why I understand people who just go and paint walls. I mean, I would actually make a painting rather than a couple of tags too, but. Yeah. Okay, and maybe some tags are okay. Just don't do tags on my murals, please.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Anyways, but I totally get why people just go and do it, because doing it the proper way can take a while. But well, if you're good at planning, it works out. So you, the magical explorer. I don't even know. Experimentator? Explorator?
Explorer?
Explorer. It's not explorator. I'm making up words.
I like it.
Even in your bio.
Did I make up a word in my bio?
No, I did.
Oh, okay,
no, don't worry. No.
Jesus.
Or should I say that you did? But you clearly you like experimentation and...
Yeah, definitely.
I guess let's start. Where does that come from in you?
When I was a kid, I always had these really huge arts and crafts kits where you kind of like open it up like a book, and it would just have all these sections that were compartmentalized with all these different materials. And I grew up just really enjoying playing around with stuff like that and collecting a lot of things. So I still do that. I literally was in the recycling room of my building yesterday, and I saw this foil paper sitting there. I was like, who left this here? And I took it, and now I'm going to make something with it. I don't know. I just get excited by playing around with new materials.
Collecting or hoarding?
When you're an artist, it's collecting for purposes of art.
That's right.
It's no longer hoarding.
I made a mistake where I got a bunch of big panels and quickly realized I don't have enough time to paint all of them. On my side, it was a bit of hoarding.
Yeah,
I'll admit.
I've totally done that with the pallets, the wooden pallets that they leave out in alleys. I was like, oh, who left this here? Like, this needs to be in my home, but it was rotten with like water. Still, I left it in my apartment forever. Yeah, it's.
See, the blessing and the curse is that the artist's mind is like, wow, I could build so much stuff out of this.
Yes, and then you just get too busy to do it sometimes.
And then you don't. Or just go overwhelmed because you could do so many things with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you do none.
I know. I do feel that way often. But I still really like, I don't know, collecting. It's, I have a whole room of just like weird materials and stuff.
Awesome. Do you know how to restrict yourself?
No, not well, I'd say.
Because, when you were presented with like unlimited options.
Yeah. I think in terms of the timeline of a project or something, I can. Exactly. When it's personal, it's a bit trickier.
And that's the thing, So when you make your personal work, what are the most ideal conditions for you to finish it?
When I have kind of a whole, or like half a day, or like a whole evening to myself, and I know I'm not going to do anything else,
Okay,
and
okay.
I kind of have a clear concept that I'm excited about, or I don't overthink it. I'm like, I just like this material, and I'm just going to make something with it,
Yeah.
and not overthink that. Those are really fun, but yeah, I find especially when you have design like little daily challenges, those can work really well for you to like keep you from overthinking it and just constantly outputting. And
Totally. Just because I think there's a challenge in, once again, going back to that, like the unlimited options. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I found having, and sometimes it kind of backfires, but having deadlines of some sort.
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah, being able to kind of schedule it into your calendar is like, I'm doing personal work, now for these 2 hours or whatever. I think it helps a lot. So it's not just always like the last thing that you think about doing in your day.
Yeah. But are you the kind of person who can't not make something in a day, or can you throw away a day and just do nothing?
I don't know if I do nothing, but I find especially switching back and forth between very physical jobs like these murals, where I'm really, really, really pushing my body, and especially like this last one a couple of days ago, just like not sleeping all night. And, I find it's so taxing that you're just out of sorts for days after and not very productive necessarily. But for the most part, I try and do something creative every day, even if it's like, I don't know, putting a bow on my cat. It could be small. It could be putting googly eyes on
cats
like
can be art projects.
something. Yeah. It could be whatever. Or even just going for a walk and trying just to like, find little weird things.
But what I'm asking at this point is it out of habit or out of need?
I think it varies depending on my life situation. Sometimes it's out of need. Right now, I think it's out of habit.
Nice.
Yeah.
No,
What about you?
Real artist. Pro. Just I think for personal work, it's out of need, but need to just, I guess, be happy almost, or
Yeah.
be satisfied.
Yeah.
Because for me, working in a studio, even though I make art, I think because it's not personal, it gives me satisfaction, but it's not. It just needs a little bit more. There needs to be something that's like, oh, I made this, and if it sucks or doesn't, I made this. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way when I was working at Lululemon, and I was just like, I need to make something tonight. You're like, I'm gonna go crazy otherwise. But nowadays, I think because a lot of the projects I'm working on are so personal in a lot of ways. Anyways, like I have my hand in it pretty heavily, so I think sometimes the desire to just kind of make an extra piece at the end of the night or something is a bit, I don't know, it's dampened down a bit.
So basically, if you're happy, and that's the thing, is some days when, depends on the project or the task you're doing,
Totally,
like, it can be very aligned with your interests and yourself. So it does feel like you just kind of like feeding the same need or going to the same bucket. So
yeah, exactly.
But still, I don't know.
I'm sure you're more productive than I am. Just
I
for
don't
that
know.
reason.
I do not believe it. I do not believe it. I see that amount of work you make. But that's an interesting one, and I haven't talked to many artists, and I feel like I haven't talked enough about it, but how so many artists who work full-time, you do 8 hours of art or creative stuff a day, and you never get to show it usually. I mean, unless you get to show a glimpse of it when the project is done.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a weird concept to work around.
Yeah, it's being in like the making stage of a project where you can't really necessarily share too much or whatever. It can be, I don't know, I find for me in the past it's made me feel like, oh, I'm not getting up to enough because I don't know, it doesn't feel like a milestone or something. But
Totally.
But yeah. It's still important.
And I think especially when you see the kind of the social media world and when your friends are creating artwork and you're like, oh, I wish I could show this, but then you can't. It feels like, I mean, I guess it depends how much you care, but it feels like, oh, I wish I could kind of almost like be part of the club of like, where's everyone's sharing and showing work,
Yeah, I think social media, especially Instagram, does a good time of like creating that illusion of everyone constantly being in the like, I just finished creating this phase of work, like it always like, wow, what fresh work from so and so or so and so, like how are they doing it?
This
so
only took 5 seconds.
Yeah, or just like, wow, they're putting it out like every day or something. And maybe they are creating every day, but maybe that's just from a store of images and they're really making as much as you are and whatever. But yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Are you crafting your Instagram? Is it super craft?
Yeah. No.
I don't want to say that, but you do.
No, I mean, I do think a lot about aesthetics of like how photos are going together. I can't not think about it. I tried to just like, I'm just gonna post this and whatever, but then I look at how it's sitting next to things. I'm like, oh no, I need to think about.
You're building the most beautiful Tetris page.
I work with blocks and like shapes,
That's right,
so it's hard for
exactly.
me not to be like, ooh, a big grid. Like,
It's actually the most perfect medium for
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I was talking to Taylor about how. Imagine one day they switch it from 3 blocks to 4 in a row.
Can you
Everyone's gonna
imagine?
go crazy.
Oh my god.
That would be a really good April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
Imagine just for a day they switch it
Until
to
all
4.
the big brands just lose their heads.
I mean, I know they wouldn't do it because they just like lose the whole audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Remember, it's like maybe a couple of months ago, everyone was about to switch to some new app, and everyone made an account.
Forget the name. That's how memorable that was to me. Like,
I think it was like Vero. No, I don't know. Something like.
Oh, I know.
Something like
I can't
that.
even remember.
And I was wondering, like, is this the new era?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was
Whatever
not.
happened to that?
It was all a lie. Apparently, it was lame.
Oh yeah. Well, because it was only the first certain number that don't have to pay. Is that?
Oh, really?
I think.
No,
I don't know. Whatever.
But I think Instagram is like it's first of all, it's too comfortable, but two, I remember going into that new app and I feel like it was just not as intuitive. Like it was not clean. Like you could tell that it's like you don't realize how good Instagram is until you try something else. You're like, whoa, this is so clunky. No wonder people just stay.
Yeah. It's just convenient when everybody's already on there.
I just wonder. I wonder if one day I'll be like just too old or lazy to jump onto the next thing.
Oh yeah.
That'll be the doom of me.
Yeah, I feel it coming on already, honestly, with all the like the 3D software. And
that's what I was gonna say. It's not true.
Bitcoins, everything. I'm like, I'm too old for that. Like, I'm not gonna bother.
Just gonna go into the forest and make art, right?
Yeah, just do some, I don't know, screen printing somewhere. I don't.
Do you like big cities?
Vancouver's a nice size, I think.
Somewhere in the middle,
it's like
smallish.
it's big enough that you're not bored that often. There's always new stuff going on, but
you're not going to go in the forest though.
No, my parents live on Salt Spring, and that's a bit out there for even me.
Yeah. Well, it's because you work digital partially. That's why.
I just like seeing people and like having that variation in the world around me.
People are nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So another thing, I actually don't remember what was the final output, but I talked to you maybe a month ago, and you were saying you were doing the residency.
Yeah,
right?
at Maker Labs.
Maker Labs. I don't know why I wrote Art Labs. Maker Labs.
What is Art Labs?
Yeah, well,
that sounds cool.
But what was that about, and how did that go?
It was it's called the Tools for Women residency. So it's a female-only kind of support and educational sort of program that they have going on there, where you get taught how to use the different machinery, and also have space and support for creating whatever it is that you'd like to be creating. So it was really great. They take in 4 women each month, and then you stay there for a couple months. And it was wonderful. Like, met great people. I'm just wrapping up the 2nd month right now, and really I'm now comfortable with the laser cutter, which I never was before, which totally like blew my mind. I still want to learn the CNC, but yeah, it's really cool. Like, just it's inspiring being in there, and they have so many different types of creatives just working on whatever they're passionate about in there.
How many hours were you spending there, or are you? Because you're still doing
it really depended on the week. Like, we had to be there every Sunday for a certain amount of time just to do the actual like lessons and stuff like that. But then you could come in for as often as you want. When I was doing more wood pieces, I was in there like almost every day and trying to just power through, because they have kind of dedicated spaces for everything, which was awesome, like a spray booth and
that space is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
it's
as an
so
art
great.
space, it's
I love it in there. Yeah, I would go back.
Yeah, people should check it out. Do you think? Because people also have studios there. It's not just like a drop in learn, but it's also,
you can have a studio space, or you can have you can just have a membership and be able to use the equipment, or have a membership and be able to just like work in the what are they called, like the common kind of areas in there, where they have like big long tables that you can just go work at. So yeah, it's really great. There's a lot of options.
When are we going to see the final project from that, or the final piece?
There's been a few.
There has been, so we have seen it.
There's been a couple that I posted. There's some that are still in the works. Yeah.
Instagram Tierney Milne. There you go. You go find them.
Yeah.
But I thought you knew how to use like a laser cutter before, or
no,
were you outsourcing it?
I was outsourcing it to Mark Ollinger.
Oh yeah,
who's awesome. Shout out to Mark. Yeah, he's so good.
Go Mark.
Yeah.
So, but now unfortunately, Mark, she doesn't need you anymore.
It might just be me. I don't know. Yeah.
Is CNC similar? I mean, in concept, right?
It's
to
like
laser?
with a drill bit sort of on the end, and then it cuts through, but it works in the y-axis as well, so it can like
have depth,
move
right?
in. Yeah, and so you have to kind of program it with depth as well, which is different. I found it
That
to
sounds
be
quite
at least like 10 times more complicated than
Seriously?
using the laser cutter.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it just like the software itself?
Yeah, software and
Yeah.
like the settings and setting it up and everything was just a lot more finicky. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still cool. So cool. You can cut a lot more
sounds fun.
stuff on CNC.
But it's once again, it's back to that digital conversion to traditional.
Yeah.
Like having something tactile out of the...
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying to be able to hold something like that.
And it's so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, I can never draw perfect circles,
I know, but damn, it can cut a good
That
circle.
could-
Yeah.
just roll it around just to show off how perfect it is.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that as well. See, that's where you can... Yeah, I guess that's where you can turn the digital. But it's just... How do you turn the digital into the final product? No, you would project it. So
Well, like H4, for example, they had those, I don't know if you saw, but they were making these digital framed images where they had like traditional with digital, and it was kind of shifting and changing. Like they're definitely on the...
That's awesome.
I don't know, they're figuring it out.
But if someone wants to own that piece, they need a projector as well.
No.
No?
No, I think it's like all self-contained.
It's within it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Genius.
I know.
Someone that's very smart.
I know. I'm not that smart yet, but one day maybe.
You're learning. You're graduating towards that. I'm gonna keep going with the word. No, I'm not gonna keep going with the word I made up. So the experimentating.
I'll buy it. Yeah, sounds
Experimentating. Are you going with that?
Yeah.
What materials have you been using lately? Just mumble to myself.
What have I been using lately? I've been painting. It's not very exciting. I have all this foil cardstock right now that I'm really excited about playing around with. I want to work with... Oh, yeah, I've been using acrylic mirror, which is fun. Yeah, because you can laser cut that. So there's a lot of possibilities with that I kind of want to explore more right now.
Laser cutting or...
No, acrylic mirror. Like laser cutting the acrylic mirror.
But, you can't... cut it by hand, or can you?
Maybe you can. I wouldn't want to. I don't think I want to. But yeah, laser cutting it is so effective and satisfying, and yeah.
What has been, I guess, within experimenting with those tools, what has been the process, I guess, like that worked the best? Is there a process that you find works the best when you approach something new like that?
I think having an idea, hopefully, and then, or just kind of, it really depends, I think, on the material. But for like laser cutting, if it's a new thing, you just kind of try out different settings and see, I don't know, it's a price point thing too. Like, how much can I use of this before it becomes unrealistic to just experiment with this? Like, paper is really nice because it's cheaper, but...
You're telling me you're not going to use sheets of gold just to, try it out?
That'd be the dream, but not yet.
Not yet? One day.
Yeah, not yet. I'd like to play around more with acrylic, but it's so pricey.
Yeah. What if you get like a government grant, $500,000? Are you using real gold?
No, but I'd probably do some big mirror thing.
Yeah.
Mirror's so pricey too, but like, doing that on a larger scale would be really cool.
Us
really
common people
satisfying.
don't know how much mirrors cost. I just realized I never actually go to buy a chunk of glass.
Yeah, well, just like the acrylic mirror, even small sheets of it can be like $100 sometimes, like smallest sheets. It's
just gotta stick with paper.
Yeah.
Pretend it's reflective.
Or just get money from somewhere.
That's right. You got to get the government grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get a grant.
But you know how now all the buildings that are going up here, you can, part of the money goes to our installation, right?
Yeah.
I think like in our project.
Yeah.
Just got to get one of those.
It seems like a really profitable world to break into.
Yeah.
So I've heard, yes.
Do you have connections?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard stories. And it seems like... Yeah, it seems like you get treated very well if you can break into that,
Sounds good.
World.
Don't tell anyone how to. We can talk.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
What is so through all those experiments? Is there what's been the most recent discovery? You don't have to give away all the secrets.
Discovery.
But, just one.
I don't know if I've discovered anything necessarily, but I've been messing around with trying to do projection mapping outdoors, which is kind of an experiment in and of itself. Trying just to do smaller public projection mapping things, because I really fell in love with the idea of just kind of activating a space in sort of a whimsical, sort of unexpected way, and just sort of like, I don't know, breaking into people's day, whether they're walking home or whatever. Just like, oh, what is that? Some sort of spectacle. So yeah, it's been really fun to collaborate with my friend Tim on that.
Nice.
And just, you know, I saw a doorway that was covered up on the street one day, and I was like, we should project onto that. You know, that's kind of interesting. And so we were able to pull it off like the next couple days. It's fun being able to do kind of quick turnaround, things like that.
See, you're a true artist. You just think about art everywhere you go. There's a door.
Hard to escape it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's also experiential. Like there's something exciting about creating experiences for people, not just like the artwork itself. Yeah, that's what I'm like most excited about right now.
Nice. Is it easy to project, and is it easy to map it on the fly? Like, is the software easy enough to, like, you have a visual, let's say you're projecting like a tree in front of us. Are you just pulling a bunch of vertices in the software, or is it not that simple?
I mean, I'm sure Tim, who's actually doing the projection mapping, would say it's
just
not that simple. As I watch him, like, yeah, I could do that, but I'm sure I couldn't. It seems, I don't know, he's very experienced with the software, so I think he's able to kind of pull it off fairly quickly, but it still would be like laborious for someone like you or I.
Because I'm curious how quick you can do that. You can do like those mob flash.
Some people can do it,
things,
really quickly. And even in New York, there's those people who have it set up in the back of their SUV, and they pull up to like, you know, some sort of, I don't know, big iconic building, and like those pop out and project onto it on the fly, and then drive off, kind of thing. Like,
I got to see that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of options.
Oh my God, what you could do with that.
Yeah, Tim created this battery that we could have in the car and like plug everything into, so that was really great. Yeah, be on the fly with it.
They're turning into like road warriors.
My car is just like the mural vehicle right now. It's awful.
Full of paint.
Yeah, spilled paint in cans, spray paint. Yeah.
I remember when we did the Squamish Mural Fest, and my car got covered in paint on the inside. I had so much fun. I remember being so upset about it, but since then, I mean, I've been trying to be careful. But yeah, the car definitely turned into a mural vehicle.
Once you get it you just okay, here we go.
It's hard to go back. I tried cleaning up. It didn't work. I tried. Let's see. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. So, your last art show, Happy Cuts.
Yes.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Was that a year ago? It was a summer.
God, no. Was it a year ago?
Maybe. A year is not a long time.
Yeah, it was in the summer. Yeah, it was in the summer. Yeah.
Okay. You said you didn't do one in a long time. I think a year is pretty good.
It feels like a long time.
That was a really good one. I feel like the way you presented the show, and I think that just comes up from your personality, and like even the way you're saying you crafted your Instagram. It felt like a beautiful package where it felt like a lot of things were really thought out, like from the card to like the way you painted the wall and the font, and then like you go on your website, and even the way that page for Happy Cuts is laid out, it feels like so carefully put together. I really like that.
That's nice to hear.
But I think it's because your process, like even the way you assemble your pieces, I think that exact mentality like just kind of flows through everything.
Meticulous, I guess, in a weird way. I'm not a very meticulous person in general, but when it comes,
true.
I feel that way. In any other part of my life, I don't feel meticulous, but when it comes to artwork, I guess,
Well,
it was it was a really fun process for that show. Yeah. I feel like I went in and I'd never done a show before, and I'd never.
You haven't?
No, that was my first show, and I had never really made any pieces before.
Wow.
I'd never made wood pieces before, and it was I talked to Michael from CapU. I was like, hey, I know you want to do the show, but can I do wood pieces, even though you've never seen that before? So it was kind of just this whole new thing for me, and I took photos of the space and was drawing on my iPad. So I would draw my first sketches of the pieces on the wall, so that I could look at the composition of all of them together, because I didn't know. I was like, people are only ever going to see it like this, so I'm going to start designing with this, which just felt really backwards, but it kind of worked out.
No wonder it felt crafted though. That's really smart. I mean, you're using your space. See, that's why everything felt like it really made sense. You just tied it all together.
I'm glad it came out that way.
You're just making it sound worse, though. You're like, oh, first time art show, no big deal. First time wood. It was really good.
Thank you. I want to do another one.
Yeah,
It was good.
Did you? So you mentioned you were working on some smaller pieces.
Yeah, just commissions
Yeah.
for people.
Similar.
Similar kind of style, just like layered wood. I'm working on designing my first sculpture right now, which is really weird. I don't know. I feel overwhelmed with the process.
That's one out of those stand projects that you're.
Yeah, and just that's really my motivation for trying to learn SketchUp right now and trying to, I don't know, master some sort of 3D software.
So are you just like doing the sketch in 3D to then make it in real life, or is it going to be 3D printed?
It's going to be either laser cut.
I mean, yeah.
A combination of laser cutting and CNC, probably.
How big?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I guess I don't know yet, and I don't know what it's going to be, and I don't know anything. But I'm more just trying to figure out, like, what is 3D? Like, how do I ideate within this environment? Because I was trying to sketch, and, like, it's so hard to sketch a sculpture. Maybe it's not, but I found it difficult. So
no, I think like planning out, imagining something in 3D. It can
it just felt like I was wasting a lot of time sketching. So I feel like 3D software is going to hopefully be easier. Yeah.
And that's the thing about 3D, you can scale. I mean, especially if you're using laser cuts. If your sheets of whatever are big enough, you can go pretty big.
One day, so the first step, hopefully.
And then you're gonna have to find some permits or something. Oh, this is not safe.
Yeah, thankfully, I think it's gonna be like fairly small.
Right now, she's showing me like half a meter. No, you gotta go like 10 times that.
We'll see.
A couple of stories.
We'll see. Yeah, maybe this will be my pilot one.
So when is the next art show then?
It's coming up on I want to say 25th.
Oh, so you actually have one.
Well, no, it's a show called Graphically Speaking, and it's done at Monster Gallery, which is on 2nd, just past Maine. And there's a whole bunch of us in there, really fun people, Sandeep and Christian and people like that. And so we were given a big printout of a portrait of us, and then we have to paint on it or draw on it with only black and white.
Nice.
And it's like representative of your style. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun show.
How large is it? Are the pieces?
I think they're 3 by 4 feet. I'm lying. It's something like that, though.
Wow.
It's something pretty big. Yeah. Maybe it's not that big, but it's pretty big.
Wait, say it again. What was it? Because once you started mentioning the date, it was like, you just said you're planning to know. Anyways,
I think it's the 25th.
25th? Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I'll post about it.
Nice.
I know, it's really
awesome.
I'll post about it.
Is your piece ready?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh,
yes.
Okay. So there's no worries.
Ready. No. I'm feeling good about it. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Okay, and then would you do another solo?
I would love to. I'm not doing one. I'm not like planning on doing one, but I'd love to do one. Yeah. I feel like summer it's like mural season. I'm ready.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, mural fest. Who knows? I want to help out. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be busy through the summer.
Well, the thing is that you've managed to keep doing murals during winter too, so.
I've set a bad precedent. I feel like you're going to be painting in the snow every year now.
Now just got to lock yourself in a studio and start making. What do you think the next solo would be?
Solo show?
Yeah, can we predict? Would it be still woodcuts or?
I don't know. I don't really like painting on canvas, or like I don't really enjoy doing like paintings. I would say so. I think I would probably want to do maybe wood or maybe like mixed media, like mixing whole bunch of different materials together. I don't know. Yeah, something in that vein.
Is that why you stay digital until like in the initial stages?
Yeah.
It's nice and easy.
I love pure colors, and I found it too frustrating to try and get a pure color swatch when I was painting, and so digital was so perfect for me. I just I preferred it. But now being able to just go and buy my paint swatches and do it and roll it for a mural, it's perfect. Yeah,
I like the process a lot as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, my problem was usually like just picking too many colors.
Oh, totally.
When you end up going to the paint store, you're like, wait, am I really taking so many gallons?
Spending $500 on this passion project. Yeah.
And the thing about, I mean, you bought paint, but it's like if you get a quart or like the 4 gallon one, like the price difference actually doesn't make sense the way it breaks down. It's like 4 times less or something like that. It's actually anyways, so
paint's expensive.
You end up buying big buckets of paint, and
then I don't know about you, but at the studio, but I have a lot of paint. I have like a whole storage locker of paint right now.
It's like, hey, hello friends, hit us up if you need paint. I've actually been sending I've sent out a bunch of messages being like, hey, I really don't want to throw this out. Some really good paint. I just that's
a good idea. I should do that.
Just give it out.
See if anyone needs paint. Yeah,
that's right. Good people come here.
Yeah, we got paint.
Yeah.
Come find us.
I think I'm gonna try to use up some of it, like in a back alley by the studio, just to keep painting.
Yeah.
For that same reason, like
Yeah.
I think finding permits is gonna be just time consuming. Maybe I shouldn't say it because now I did. And so if someone finds me now, please don't. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's gonna be great.
And the thing that's the city is actually really great too. It just takes time. I just want to paint.
It does. Yeah. I think if you get permission from someone, maybe
Yeah.
you don't need a permit. Is that right? Am I lying? I don't know.
If you get, you need both. Yeah,
Okay.
the business will still.
Don't listen to me.
Or we can just assume so. That's like you said. You got to be positive and just yeah. If you think it's okay, it probably makes.
Maybe
it.
it'll
Yeah,
be okay.
That's
yeah.
how it works.
There you go. I like that.
Do it. Let's see. Where do we go from the art show? Actually, for that, just before we finish up with the happy cuts, for that art show, did you already have the iPad Pro? Is that how you're just designing your images?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're the big proponent of Apple.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Apple fangirl, though I've been more angry with them in recent time. But I think,
Tell me more.
well, just about their new computers and the port
Yeah.
situation, it makes me really frustrated. But I've always been a really big Apple fan. I have a lot of Apple products in my life, and just being able to have them all connected and sort of streamlined is really efficient and wonderful.
That's how
but
they get you.
I know. Plus, their beautiful design.
Yeah.
Ah, damn them. But yeah, the iPad has been really great. I love bringing it with me if you're traveling or if you're out, and just not having to kind of lug a whole bunch of stuff with you. It's been nice.
One thing I still that like slows down my process with the iPad, I've noticed, is just getting to the color wheel.
Really?
Especially for painting. Me in a sense that
like for painting, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a workaround pretty soon or something. Yeah, but for
Yeah.
painting though, like I imagine if you're I should be working with more heart-shaped colors. Just like if you're doing a transition from one to the other,
Right.
you gotta
Yeah, I guess I don't do that at all on there, but I can imagine that being annoying.
Do you
Wait,
think-
are you using Procreate?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very good though.
Yeah. I
Just
know.
that
I
little
mean,
part.
all in all, it's pretty good.
I'm just spoiled. I shouldn't complain. It's all very good. I also have a lot of Apple products, and my brothers make fun of me because they think I'm hipster. That's still a thing.
No.
Or maybe it's not actually. I don't know.
No, I got called that by my brother too yesterday. I think it's still a thing.
Seriously? Okay. No.
Yeah.
Once again, positive thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. All right, let's get to some harder questions.
Oh, jeez.
What has been the hardest thing last year?
Last year.
Actually, let's specify it with an art because who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hardest thing in art last year. I think just being solo as a freelancer and having to wrap your head around kind of managing all parts of your business from the initial kind of like liaising, courting stage with a client where you're kind of wooing them in, and like all the networking and all the keeping on top of social media and all that, just like the invoicing, just there's so many hats to wear, and I think that can really like weigh on you sometimes as a freelancer. But yeah, I think you just kind of get through it one wave at a time.
What year are you in? Like what freelancing?
I guess it's my second year. Yeah.
Really?
Or maybe I'm into my third.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
it feels
lying.
like it's been longer, but I don't know. Maybe
Maybe you're right. Maybe I just finished my second year. I don't know. I'm somewhere in there. It hasn't been that long. It's been more than a year.
You did
less
a
than
lot.
3.
Yeah, I guess time flies sometimes, and then it doesn't. But it looks like it was a lot. As far as advice for, let's say, local artists to get into the art scene, anything you could say? Because one thing I found, and I wonder, it's definitely like the location makes a big difference. But I think, I don't know, as an artist to go from like just making a couple of things and then try to like you're collaborate a lot, or whether you want to go into collaborations or actually showing pieces.
Yeah,
Have you
I'm
found
not
an
as
interesting path?
familiar with showing pieces because I haven't really been a part of like gallery world very much, or trying to get
See, I
pieces
keep
into
thinking,
galleries.
I keep thinking that you are. But
Yeah, it's fine, but I don't really do that at all. So for me, I would say like in terms of murals and those kind of things, volunteering with other artists, reaching out to those artists and seeing if they need a hand. The Mural Fest, I think, is like the number one way.
Yeah.
And other kind of events like that, being able to break into this community of such, like, we're so tight knit, I think, in Vancouver, the artists, and just finding a way to get into that and prove your worth and just like lend a helping hand, I think is such a great way to get into the network.
It's awesome. Okay, and then now an annoying question, and I know they are, and they usually maybe a tough one to deal with, but as far as style goes, you're definitely got a pretty strong aesthetic. Do you want to Is there a way how that came up, or was it pretty organic for you?
I don't know. It's hard to say exactly how it came up. I've always really liked kind of graphic, bold, colorful things and patterns. I've always really been in love with patterns and like just simple shapes. Yeah, I don't know. Growing up, I was obsessed with Japan. Like I studied Japanese and I went there on exchange and all these things. So for me, I was really influenced by reading manga and like all the kind of just the graphic nature of it. So I think that's kind of affected me. But otherwise, I don't know exactly where it came up. It's just kind of what makes me happy. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good answer. Because you know how, like, I feel like the question of like what kind of tools do you use and how do you get your style? I feel like it's such a such a common thing.
Yeah. I like to say I'm not really married to like a style necessarily, or like a medium. It's more about like how I'm trying to think about working with the material or working with others, or I don't know how it's making people at large feel, or something like that. I don't know.
And when collaborating, do you feel like you take on someone else's look, or?
Yeah, it's such a cool process to collaborate, because even if you're feeling pigeonholed or like, oh, this is what I do right now, inevitably, you know, it's merging with someone else's style, and there's going to be something new that comes out of that. And it's kind of a cool process of letting go of control to a certain extent, and being able to feel strongly about your opinions, but also hopefully you're working with someone that you respect also and like want to, you know, make compromises and shift things with. Just
because when I look at your work, I think visually maybe it's, I know it's perception, but maybe like when the style is so, whether it's graphic or like it's clean, I feel like there's so many ways to fit something within or blended, but I think just because it lends itself to it, you know, where if someone like has a lot of texture in their work, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just perception, but like it feels like because the way you work is already so balanced, I think, to bring an element in and not destroy the whole aesthetic.
Maybe, yeah. I like to try and be flexible. I think it comes from working in the more design background, where you need to change things up depending on your client and be able to make something that feels appropriate for them and their brand or whatever. So I feel the same when I'm collaborating with someone. Like, you're aware of what their style is and what they're bringing to the table, and hopefully you can like pick out some key parts. I do feel like my style does fit easily with, just because it's like grids. It could even, you know, it could be as simple as like throw a grid or something, you know, or it could be lines. Like, it can be simple things or it can be complex, and I like to be able to kind of have some room to change things up.
I think you just do a very good job of, because you're mentioning like if you haven't done that many shows and you've been freelancing for a couple of years, I think once again from the outside it looks like you did a really good job of not finding yourself, because I don't know, well, we can talk about that in a bit, but the way you present yourself feels like it's like defined. It's not wandering too much, you know what I mean? Like, even if you're trying different medium, it still feels like it's you.
Yeah I like the idea of that a lot. I like the idea of not having to showcase yourself as one easily digestible like nugget of a creative, you know, like I do this and making it easy for people. Like, I like the idea of still being able to incorporate lots of different elements and all the things that I want to do, and not feel like I look so scatterbrained, or like, you know, because initially I was really worried about that when I started freelancing. I thought like no one wants to see all these different things. They're following me for type, or they're following me for like mural stuff. Like, it felt really disparate to like bring them all together into the same place. But I feel like now, if you kind of intentionally try and balance them out, like you can get away with having all these weird things together.
But so do you think you found yourself?
I don't know. It's all a work in progress. You're always changing, right? I look back to when I first started freelancing, and I don't necessarily do the same stuff as I was doing then. And I feel like hopefully 2 years from now, I'll look back at what I'm doing right now and be like, oh, that was a good stepping stone.
Totally.
So.
Well, that's a very good way to look at it. I think, just got to keep advancing.
Yeah, exactly. We're never too satisfied as creatives.
But that's the interesting part, is that you see some artists where they feels like tightly stay within a certain aesthetic, and makes me, I mean, I got to get those artists.
I'm envious on some level.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, definitely. Some people are really good at just kind of honing in on like this exact thing that they want to present to the world, and they're really good at it, and they make a killing, and it's
and
wonderful.
I guess that's what it feels like I don't know, is it finding yourself, or maybe just knowing what works. I don't know. We got to pick their brain. We got to find those people and get them in here.
Scott. I feel Scott is amazing at
But
that.
Scott has been evolving so much too. Actually,
True.
we got to get him here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right though. It seems like when he finds an aesthetic, he's very good at diving deep into it.
Definitely, yeah.
Actually, that guy's gonna have a show soon. We're gonna have to get him on here.
Yeah.
The,
He's so
the
good.
magic man. Yeah.
He's amazing.
But his actually being in the studio with him, seeing his transition has been very interesting as well.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because it was a lot more representational, like even just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get
It's
that
fun
in
that
here.
we have
Yeah.
the freedom to change, you know,
Mhm.
like, and that you're
Yeah.
not expected to be doing exactly the same thing that you were years ago. It's
Totally.
great.
But I think people worry. So actually, you just mentioned worrying about, will people follow you for this, follow you for that?
Yeah.
Is that still? Do you still worry about that?
Sometimes I don't worry about it now, but like it passes through my brain. Let's say if I do a very particular kind of project, like a basketball court, and then a whole
Mhm.
bunch of like basketball people will follow me, and I'm like, oh, maybe they don't realize that like this isn't really what I do all the time. Like I'm not related to basketball. I don't really do or post anything basketball related. Like this is a one-time thing. Sorry,
Don't
guys.
get excited.
And
Yeah.
I'll see them drop off later. I'm like, okay, cool. They figured it out. But whatever. Like it's whatever people want.
And
I
then
feel like it's like watching a TV. People tune in, they tune out, and like whatever. Try
the
not to let it affect me.
All the basketball fans like, she's a poser.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of am because I don't know anything about basketball. Like literally designing that court, I wasn't really thinking about basketball.
That's okay. You gave them some good art.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
more about just like fun. It's a circle basketball court, so it's not very traditional, anyways.
You're welcome, guys. There you go. Do not complain.
Yeah.
But so when approaching social media, then I guess when you said you like the way you craft your feed, the way you post. I mean, that's because you just like to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to do. I don't always do it that way. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, if I'm exhausted, I'll be like, I don't know about you, but sometimes in like third or fourth day of a mural, when you're just like worn down, you're like, here's a photo of
Just
me
take
working, and
this,
it's not
yeah.
really beautiful. Maybe I'll delete it later, but like, please, like, I'm alive out here.
I understand why.
Yeah, it's like a SOS.
You just got to do a disclaimer in the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm very tired.
yeah. But no, I generally try and I don't know, be aware of it. But I just enjoy that. It's just like a
Mhm.
fun visual. It's like almost like a puzzle to me.
The social media is a fun game to keep up with.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Do you enjoy it? Do you find it fun?
I've been trying to kind of like you were saying, where you try to create myself or more almost, but not creating like the work I make, but the work I show, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it does sound like a lot. It's a lot of work. It seems it ends up being work if you start caring so much. But
Yeah.
I think it's important too, because like you said, especially, well, in your case, you're saying that's the main place you show your work.
Yeah, definitely.
It really does feel like that's where people these days especially go to. It's like, oh, hey, does this, like if you mention
Oh
an
my
artist,
goodness, yeah.
are they on Instagram? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't count the number of times that people have reached out for other reasons and been like, oh, I came across you on Instagram, and I don't know how they land there, but yeah, it's pretty much the only way I get work these days.
That's why I should care, but some days it's like you said, some days. Just,
Yeah, it's easy to overthink it too, and I
Mhm.
don't know, get caught up in that sometimes. So I try to I don't know, limit myself a little
Yeah.
bit.
I try to talk about this subject quite a bit, just because it does seem so overwhelming, and
Mhm.
yeah, everyone kind of treats it in their own way.
Yeah. Well, I remember back in design school, one of the teachers said to us that they were talking about some local artist who was a big deal, and people were really loving her work. And she was saying, oh, it's because they loved the romance of this idea of her as an artist, seeing the images of her going off on her trips to France and like with the baguette and like painting in the field of like whatever, lavender. So I don't know, there's something, people seem to love the romance and the idea of what it is to be an artist.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know, it can get easy to get caught up in that, like, oh, how are people viewing me or something? But I don't know. I try to not to
You try to
overthink
stay
it.
away. Yeah.
Try and just be authentic and whatever.
Totally, I can relate to that. But then on the other hand, I actually Saturday, yeah, no, Friday, I went to Victoria to do a live painting. I was talking with some artists there, how people, especially when you start, like if you do live painting once and you've done some, when you speak to people in person, they actually, I think when people buy a piece of art, especially when it's like this physical thing,
Yeah.
It's unfortunately and maybe fortunately true that people do want to buy a persona in some way. They want
Totally,
to buy
yeah.
the story. So
Yeah. I know it's hard.
hard. It's
Like you need to
you
do
don't care,
it
but
to
you
a
should-
certain
yeah.
extent, and then I see people doing it so well, and I know maybe I know them personally, and then I see like what they're doing online. I'm like, good for you, you know, like it's great that they're able to pull it off. I just every time I try and do it, I end up feeling like I don't know.
You're fake.
Inauthentic. And then I overthink it, and I'm like, somebody knows. I need to delete it right away. This isn't the real me. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm too neurotic for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's when you start treating yourself like a business.
Yes,
unless you're
that's
okay
the
with it,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a tricky shift for a lot of us, I think. I don't know.
You mentioned the program at Maker Labs, not
Mhm.
Art Labs, but it's called that too. And then this show you're doing. Do you feel there's a lot of support for female artists specifically? Well, let's say in Vancouver. I don't know, like.
Yeah. I don't know. I try not to get too caught up in the idea of being a female artist as much as I was doing this Maker Labs thing. It was more just, in that case specifically, it was more, I was too scared to go in and learn the tools on my own. So yeah, I think it is really great, and especially sort of a male-dominated wood shop, for example, to know that you have like 3 other girls that you can go in there with, and you're like sanding, you're like, hey girl, like it's a really cool vibe. And in that case, like I really loved it. But I think, I don't know, otherwise I think there's just a lot of support for artists, and I like the idea of just being supported as a fellow artist, and not just like a female artist specifically in Vancouver. But that's just me.
But where do you stand on that then? Because on one hand, I don't know.
I know.
I like it. It should be so. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm benefiting from the program, but also saying this. But
No, but it's not what I'm saying. What I mean is that it's, and then it's all sensitive, and I don't know how, like, meaning like I want it. It's like you want it to be the world where everyone gets equal opportunity. So I guess my question is like, do you feel like
am I getting equal opportunity?
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so for sure. Yeah, I've never. Yeah, like you get the odd weird situation come up as a female in this industry where maybe you have like an uncomfortable interaction or something, but I think for the most part I've been really like well supported and given so many opportunities just as an artist. Yeah.
Well, the ideal world is that they don't care if you're
Hopefully,
like,
I hope I'm not just getting them because I'm female. I would feel so uncomfortable.
that would not be good. Yeah, that's right. Just because as like a lot of these conversations happening, I think it's very interesting to see perspective from kind of with the various fields or and I guess because also you are freelancing, you represent yourself so much. You're not like a cog, or like you're not part of this machine where I guess the dynamics are so different.
There's no separation between you and your work often as a freelancer. They're viewing your work, and then that's their opinion of you, and like
Do you like that?
I don't know, it can be stressful sometimes, but I take a lot of pride in my work and trying to be as professional as possible. So I think if you care, then hopefully that'll work out in your favor, but who knows?
Are you a perfectionist?
Often, yeah. Although I feel like working on all these big murals and just like group projects, it really teaches you to not really be as much of a perfectionist. Yeah.
Sometimes in murals you really have to
you
let
really
it go.
have to let go sometimes.
Oh.
When it's late and you're like, I could fix that one little thing, but really, can I live with it like this? Yes.
but also when it's like, so this curve is 2 meters, and I kind of messed up this curve, and it goes up let's say by 4 inches a little too high, and it has 6 colors that transition. I could fix this curve, and it's gonna take me a day.
Sometimes it's a matter of like, will people know, or will it only be you that knows that it's a problem? I don't know.
We shouldn't tell this to people, but it's so true. Yeah. And I guess then just like eventually when you figure out how to be a really good problem solver.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
Just being resourceful and good problem solver,
Okay, what's the biggest wall you've done so far?
Biggest wall?
Yeah.
Ooh, it might be Maker Labs, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Colin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really big. That was really tall and long.
And you survived it.
We survived it with many sunburns,
That area looks so beautiful. I was driving here,
Oh, I love it.
It's actually kind of too bad that there's not that many people there.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting busier. I feel like people I know are moving into that area. You never know.
It's all gonna get big.
More murals. Go
Yeah.
find some walls over there.
Does your building have a painting on it?
No.
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 That's a shame.
Yeah.
What
My
do you-
strata's not gonna love that. But
What are you gonna do about that? Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta bug some people
That's-
about it.
If you yeah. Unless you're doing it for free, the strata is not gonna agree. I think
No
that's
more
generally
of that.
that's how it works.
Good.
All right. So, let's keep it going. So, do you make 1, 5, 10 year plans or anything like that?
I used to when I worked at Lululemon because it was part of being an employee there. But no, recently I have not done that.
Okay, let's do it now.
Really?
We don't have to, but
Okay, we
Yeah.
could.
I'm just curious. I guess you just go with the flow, or
It's been so much of just kind of reactionary living
Mhm.
where things will pop up and then I'll be like, great, that sounds awesome. And then that will be my life for a little bit. And then
Mhm.
something up will pop up after that. And then, I don't know. I've just been kind of jumping from one project to another. And there hasn't really been too
Mhm.
much of a downspell that caused me to really reflect on things overly. But I've been enjoying the process so
Mhm.
far. Yeah.
maybe a better question is, what is your ideal life situation? Maybe what are you building towards?
Right.
What is yeah?
I think eventually I would like to have some sort of a studio with like-minded people and be able to, I don't know, tackle bigger projects on a more, I don't know, group basis. Right now I'm doing that, but it's all very unofficial when it does happen. So I kind
Mhm.
of scramble and pull people in and I don't know. I just don't feel like I have the right structure in place to really facilitate that. But I'd like to work up to, I don't know,
Mhm.
being able to tackle bigger things with
That's
with
when
groups.
you build a fort,
Yeah.
and then then
Yeah.
they come-
One day.
and you're gonna turn corporate.
Yeah. No. I'm going to try. I'm going to try not
You're
to.
gonna fight the system.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing corporate work. It's often really cool and people get great opportunities there, but yeah, it just depends.
Making all the people working in studios right now, making everyone sad.
No, there's great work out there. There's great studio work.
Yes.
Also, I think it keeps you more motivated on your own personal projects.
if you can, actually, I think a lot of artists say they're drained by the time they
Really,
get
yeah,
home.
yeah.
And then they don't do it. I mean, maybe those are all excuses. I don't
There's
know.
always a reason not to do it.
There's
You
a
know?
reason not to
I
do
know.
it.
No matter if you're freelancing or in a studio. Yeah.
But you were able to make art when you were working full time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 For
That's
a
just because
while.
you're too much of a hard worker. That's
Just
how
a
we.
workaholic.
That's how this whole thing started. What is your happy place?
Happy place.
Mm.
I would say in Vancouver, probably just being at home with my cats. It's very relaxing. My apartment looks out at the city, so it's really nice just kind of people watch from a distance. I'm very introverted.
Yet you want to hang out with people. You're somewhere in between.
Well, you need social contact, but being on your own for me is very revitalizing.
You can only take so much of social interaction.
Yeah.
It does too much.
You can only take too much time alone before you go stir crazy, and yeah.
What has been a recent coolest art or book or a movie or an experience? That was not a really well worded question. I probably should have done
No,
better. But you get the gist.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Trying to think what I've been up to lately. It's been so much mural. God.
Your brain is just in
I
that
know
mode
my
still.
brain is
That's
just
the
like
night shifts.
mush right now. Most inspiring thing lately. I went to go visit a studio
Mhm.
of a local wood artist
Mhm.
named Ari Laser. And
Wow.
his work is amazing. Yeah, it's made out of all these layered laser cut, very intricate designed, almost mandalas sort of thing,
wow,
but
yeah.
not necessarily that. But they all spin in different directions, layered on top of each
my
other,
God.
and create these patterns that are wild. Anyways, and he also creates lanterns that cast lights with all these patterns, and they're beautiful.
And is it all laser cut?
Yes, all
Mm.
laser cut.
What's his name?
Ari Laser.
His
Last name is actually Laser. I know. I was like, this is your calling.
he had no choice. He was doomed,
Yeah.
or
It was fated in the stars.
what's opposite
yeah.
of doomed? Blessed.
Destined.
Destined.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not go blessed. Destined to be the laser artist.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Also, I think well, there's a whole bunch of people, but I think it was H4 and like Tim Rolls and those guys. They were doing this huge light show at Queen Elizabeth Park, and they had created this whole sort of interactive experience with addressable like LEDs where you walk underneath them and they like change as if the cherry blossoms were lit up, and that was very inspiring. I made it out to the edge of it. It was the night it was like torrential raining, but very cool that people are getting up to stuff like that in the city. I find that very inspiring.
Do you actually have enough time to go out and check out all those things?
I try.
Yeah?
I'm trying to make a point of going out to see things when I'm not tied in with like murals or stuff like that, which is often the case. Yeah, it's hard. I really want to be, you want to be supportive and reciprocate, especially when other people are trying to make a point to come out and support you. And
I try to, but
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially when it's raining out.
Yeah, and sometimes, but also the hard part is, you either go support someone or you make art, like meaning like you go see other people's art or you make art. And when it comes to that choice, you're like, I don't want to be the terrible person, but.
I know, it depends on the day, like some days you some days you got to be selfish, a little bit more selfish. Some days you can be like a little more selfless. And
I give myself maybe not too many, but definitely give myself that excuse. No.
Well, you're working during the day too, right? I mean, when you have no freedom during the day, like giving up your evening is, I don't know, that's hard.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah,
you're right, it's valuable.
I wouldn't want to do it if I was working 9 to 5.
Thanks.
Yeah. Don't worry, don't feel bad.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out one day. Yeah, once again, it's just like that, finding that balance. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't even know if balance exists, but I'm hoping to work towards it. Yeah. I gotta keep searching. Yeah. Is there, before we get to a couple other questions, is there anything, I guess, because one thing I feel like on this, so far on the podcast is like leading, but anything exciting happening? Because sometimes it's kind of, I don't know if I'm aware of all the, trying to be aware of all the, I don't know whether it's events or something happening.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the gallery show coming up in a few days. Other than that, I feel like there's not something specifically that I can mention. Yeah.
It's all secrets.
It's all like weird things that are still in the works.
Brain.
Yeah. Just personal projects. I'm sure there'll be some exciting ones coming up.
Nice. And as far as freelancing, like I guess I should have asked it before, but when you're doing a lot of this work where if it's not paid, like is there a way you find to balance it out? Because that's actually, I should have asked it earlier, but like is there, like, do you have safe places to go to in case, meaning like for sure work somewhere? I can
do design work.
Yeah. The last thing you want to do?
Yeah, I try not to do much design work these days. It's not my absolute favorite thing to do, but I still enjoy thinking about it and the psychology of that and, how it all works. So yeah, I do design work if I need to. And then there's other things. There's like illustration projects or, I did a book cover, which was tactile type. Yeah, it hasn't come out yet, but things like that, or trying to think of like the sculpture or fine art pieces, just trying to, I don't know, pull in little things here and there when there's not like murals or bigger projects.
Yeah. But do you keep up with the design world?
I do, in the sense that all my friends are still in all the agencies, and so things come up, like a project may come up here or there, or I have friends even from the Lulu day that have gone on to open their own businesses and then need design support. So I'm able to kind of do things here and there. Because
it actually seems, kind of from the outside looking in, the design world seems pretty overwhelming. Like it's such a rich
in terms of just being community. So many. Yeah. There's so many designers. Yeah.
And like I know, like apart from it being such a popular medium and also very much in need, like marketing is everything these days, and seems like but there's so much to pay attention to.
Definitely.
Do you go to? I asked Tara the question last time. Is there anywhere you go to see news for the art world specific?
News? No, mostly online. I mean, Facebook for me is pretty much only to be invited to gallery shows or like events like that. So I like to try and keep up with things like that there. And then for me, it's more exciting just to follow everybody on Instagram and just kind of mentally refresh constantly, like what are these people up to, what's that person up to, because sometimes projects will come my way that aren't really appropriate for my style, and it's really nice to be able to be like, oh yeah, I do know someone that's like doing that exact thing, and that would be perfect for you, and be able to like connect those people. I just try and, I don't know, follow everyone.
but is it I don't know.
There's not like
would
a
it work?
hub for news necessarily.
But I mean, there's magazines. I don't know if people read that.
Yeah.
I definitely know there's art magazines.
Are you talking about like trends, like design trends, or?
I want to, because design and then like this, you know, some sort of fine art world we're in, or like writing this fine line, because, well, especially for you, like you do both. Because I feel like for music, I think it's easier. There's like publications that do a really good job of either curating or like kind of, yeah, I don't know, where you can kind of learn about what's happening, like kind of the climate of a genre. I feel like with art, I don't know, and maybe it's more, you see more of that in design.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I follow a lot of accounts like Juxtapose or whoever it might be that constantly feature either artists or designers or photographers or whatever, and talk about their shows. And so I feel like just by kind of like passively taking that all in on Instagram, I get a pretty good sense of like new trends, or like, oh, that's exciting, or I find a lot of inspiration from there, I think.
As long as you follow the right people, though. What if you boxed yourself in and you don't even know it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's possible. I really I don't know, I enjoy like deep diving and kind of like following a person to a related person and being like, okay, cool, this is an interesting style.
But then there's an algorithm.
I know. No, it's all controlled. I know. I have a fake sense of control and free will and everything, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
These pretty pictures.
I wonder if it would even work. Well, I guess like the smaller publications work. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like, for example, like if you want to find a residency, you go here. If you want to find like a city project, you go here. If you want to find murals, you go here.
Yeah.
If you want to know about art shows, there's not even, like, for example, for Vancouver, I feel like the tiers of galleries, they're so separate that like if you're not, I don't even know, like if you're not following, you're just not even there. You know, there's a couple of galleries, for example, on I would say like around Maine that you can see they're just like higher echelon, but like, I'm just not even part of that world.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, but do you want to be part of that world?
I don't know. I don't even know what that is like.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like people naturally sort of just break off into their segments. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really have a desire to go to the like fine art galleries.
No, that's not you.
Oh no, not I can go in and appreciate it, but yeah, it's true. It is tricky to find out about what's going on.
But why would you not want to be there? Do you know what it's like?
Okay, maybe that's harsh. It's not that I don't want to be there. It's just like not the first thing that I'm wanting to do necessarily. Yeah. If I had the choice between kind of a weirder, more experimental gallery space to check out, or like a really high-end one, I'd probably pick the weird one.
I guess it's just that, you know, if let's say you do want to keep going with more art shows, and you know, if you want to make it so that it actually like supports your living, you have a couple of choices to make. You know, whether you I don't know, like try to craft yourself somehow, like you're saying, and to. I
know I have a hard time picturing myself as being in those kind of galleries, but who knows? I mean, who knows?
One day.
No, one day. I had to keep making pieces first, and then you never know.
Just have some sort of deep write up. Did you go to Emily Carr to school?
No, I didn't. I went to the idea program at Cap.
That's right. Very nice.
It's very like kind of practical, the more like practical side of things, and like the advertising side of things. I feel like I didn't really get a fine art experience like you would at Emily Carr.
It's interesting because a lot of people went into that program. Like I know a lot of good artists that came out of the program, but also a lot of artists that came into it thinking
the idea program.
Thinking they would be painting or drawing a lot more, and then just and then they didn't. But I mean, if you wanted, you get kind of get it, right? Yeah,
there's a few people that I graduated with who are still doing full-time illustration and making their living off that, which is really cool. But most of them, I think, are designers at this point.
Christian, you beast, if you're listening.
Oh, Art Jesus. So we called him in school. Oh,
you say Art Jesus?
Yeah. Oh, we were like, what is Art Jesus going to be up to? Like, he was just always pulling something out of his hat. He's so good.
Is it Christian Foley? Is that how the name on Instagram? Look him up.
Yeah. He's so good.
That's the interesting part. Seeing the people who went through that program, but then I think it just shows who can teach themselves, really, in a sense, or like using the tools that you're able to get and then kind of push it farther. Yeah. Did you like going to that school?
Yeah, it was it was really great. It's a different program now. It's now turned into a 4-year degree program, and it's very kind of different taste to it, I think. But when we were there, it had a really good reputation, and so we all kind of knew like this is legit. We're gonna get out of this, and we're gonna be really prepared for like the industry. But it just really puts you through everything. Like you're just so physically drained, and people developed all these like health conditions. You know, people were sleeping there overnight under their desks and like contorting into these strange postures. Like, I don't know. It was really good, but you come out of it just thinking like you're about to go into war or something. Like, this is the industry, and then you realize like, wow, it's actually really not that bad compared to school.
I think that's a good tactic though. If they if they scare you so much.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Rather than
try and get a drop out beforehand.
Rather than underrepresenting, and then you get out there and you're like, wow.
It's true. Yeah, I guess it's probably better to have that situation.
But when you went there, was it already a degree?
No, it was a diploma program still.
So do you think that was better?
I enjoyed it more. I mean, I went into it with a degree already, so it wasn't really like a priority for me to get a degree, but I'm sure some people would have maybe preferred that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. For my school as well, because different like animation, but I kind of liked that it was like a boot camp, like where you definitely lost a lot of sleep and
very intense.
But I feel like I don't know. Usually people like end up doing it to themselves, meaning like if you didn't want to do that, like I guess you wouldn't have to even say like in the idea program, meaning like you didn't have to work as hard if that was not part of it, you know?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like there's always going to be people who are just like kind of skate by or just don't push as hard. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's definitely high expectations set for you in the program, but it's whatever you want to put into it at the end of the day.
If you had to give people advice to, like if they're planning to go into post-secondary for, let's say two, like, so I don't know, like illustration and design, which schools in Vancouver?
I still think that the idea program is really good.
You're not going to throw some shade?
No, I mean, it's just different. It's different now. The nature of it's different now that it's a degree program. And the expectations are different. Your class kind of time is spent differently. I don't know. I can't really speak to the new version, but it worked out well for me. But I think also Emily Carr's new campus is just unreal.
It's amazing.
I would find any reason to go back there if I were you, and just go use all their beautiful facilities because it's unreal.
This is where, when you see a really nice campus, you're like, oh, I kind of want to go back
to
school now. Yeah,
I know. It made me, for the first time, really want to go back to school just to like do, I don't know, pottery or something there. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to take on like a degree program, but it'd be fun to take some courses.
Totally. Yeah, some courses would be fun. We'll find something.
So maybe we'll do it. You never know. And
then we'll regret studies. Let's do it.
Shall we go dark? What was your biggest failure?
Biggest failure? Oh boy. Oh, nothing's coming to mind right now.
You didn't fail. That's
no, I'm sure I did though. I think probably, I don't know if it's like a distinct failure, but I think just not knowing the worth of my work coming into this and kind of devaluing it and wanting to please people and wanting to just like make a project happen no matter what sometimes, especially when you're starting out and you're just like, I need to get it like no matter what. So I think, just having that attitude has been something that's really been hard for me to like get out of and be able to actually demand appropriate compensation and not get like emotionally won over when people give you the whole spiel about like why it's so great that you're giving them free work, I find I'm like, oh yeah, like you are going through a hard time, like, oh, it's so true, and then like by the end you're like agreeing to something and you get home and you're like, damn it. So I know, so just like I find that to be a failure. I'm not like hard on myself about it. I think it's normal, but just trying to get out of that headspace is where I'm at.
But it's also hard to even know what your value is, especially when it's so abstract.
And that's part of the problem, right? Is you're kind of, especially as a freelancer, you're just in the dark a lot of the, or you feel in the dark about like how much to charge or like blah, blah, blah. If you're pitching for something and you're like, well, someone's going to give something cheaper, so I should go cheaper. And I don't know. It's
such a tough one. Yeah. I mean, we spoke about that a little bit before, but knowing the value. And I think also because art in itself is so abstract, meaning like if you say that's what it is, I mean, it technically could be, now this is how much the service costs,
Yes.
and then
totally.
Yeah. That's why like when you see contemporary or like modern art, when you see a square, you know, I mean that example, like, you know, being sold for millions, and yeah, go down that path.
I know. And then I think I would have a really hard time with that too. I don't think I could feel good about charging that much for something like that.
And I think that's the problem, like being an artist, like feeling like, oh, maybe because you like it so much, you feel like it's not worth enough, and then that's it, you just end up being undercharged. Yeah.
There's a lot of head games that go on. I think that's kind of the trickiest part. Had been the trickiest part for me, is just.
Did your school talk about that at all?
A bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do talk about like mental wellness and just like how about self-talk and things more broadly like that. But it's so hard because I feel like inevitably you're going to be stressed out and overthinking things when you're a student.
I guess the cool thing these days that with the YouTube and podcasts and all this kind of medium, I think now I've been noticing a lot more resources for that specifically. Just artists just speaking out and especially experienced people who can kind of give a bit of a guideline to what you either should be charging and what kind of the industry standards are. Because back to the point that I talked about before is that, you know, if you do undercharge, then the next person is gonna kind of suffer from that, and it's a weird one.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, people don't want to talk about money. And that's
I know it's a tricky thing, and then some people are really demanding of you and reach out and are like, "How much are you charging for this, and this? Like, tell me everything." And you're like, "Whoa, like I want to help you, but like this is a lot." So I don't know. It's a hard balance between like wanting to share your resources as an artist, and then like also trying to, you know, preserve some sort of like space and mystery and like power over your own kind of way of doing things, and it's a weird balance.
Our takeaway from this podcast is nothing is easy.
Nothing is easy. Everything's hard. Yeah.
That's a tough world. Let's see. What is one thing that if people found out about you, what is one thing that people would be surprised to find out about you? God, I'm bad at this
given
today.
Everything away.
Yeah,
Let me think about another weird thing.
The show is just about talking about secrets. Really.
Yeah. I am really good at Dance Revolution.
Wow. Is that because you spend a lot of time in Japan? Is that a popular thing?
It is a popular thing there, but I don't think it's because of that. I wish I could say it was, but it was just me in my basement playing it as a teenager a lot.
I've never played it. I've seen it in arcades, but
it's so
it
fun.
seemed very intimidating.
It's real. Well, it is when you're like up on a platform in front of people. But if you're doing it at home, whole different story.
Very nice. See, we're learning a lot.
Yeah,
all right.
there you go.
And then this one, last one before we wrap up. If you could give yourself advice before you went into post-secondary, before you went into study, before you went to Capilano, what advice would you have given yourself? Your younger self?
I think before studying all this, I probably would have tried not to have I had like a very clear image of what I was going to be doing after. I thought I'd be in advertising and like doing all this stuff. And I feel like I restricted myself during the program a little bit with the idea that I was going to be going into this sort of specific realm. And then coming out of it, I'm like, oh, I'm now an artist, I guess. So just trying to be a bit more open about things while you're still in school, because you're not necessarily meant to, you know, have your voice figured out already. And like, how about you're meant to be more experimenting and like, I don't know, just taking things a bit more lightly.
That's amazing though, because it sounds like you folled that advice. Meaning if you did actually get it.
After, it's weird. I feel like now once I've graduated, I've been doing that. But while I was in the program, I was so like, advertising and branding. And like, that was what I thought I was going to be doing for sure. But you know, you never waste anything. That's the nice thing about freelancing. Everything you do is investing in yourself. Even if a project doesn't work out or a concept doesn't work out, like it's still just investing time in yourself and not like some external company.
That's an awesome way to look at it, because you can either be very upset and not think it's worth it, or
you'd be like, oh, I took some time to draw today and like it didn't pan out into anything, but it's not, at least it was like your own kind of idea and concept and skill. I
have to remind myself that. I think it's very easy to be negative.
Oh yeah. So
especially
easy.
As an artist. Yeah.
The easiest.
I definitely, I should write down some sort of smart quote on my wall or something.
I write it on my mirror in my bathroom.
Do you write quotes?
Yeah, or just like things I want to remember.
Awesome.
Like, I don't even know what the latest one was, but you know, just things, because it's the first thing you see when you go into the washroom, like up there. It's kind of nice.
And you're just giving out good advice for free. Very nice, so kind.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
That was very good.
That was so
That was
fun.
very, and I can't believe 2 hours went by.
Yeah,
but
that's so fast.
that was amazing. All right, let's see. You should give out, where should people find you?
On Instagram.
That's right.
Yes,
The best.
Tierney Milne, and
Yeah.
not on my website because it's not up to date. So yeah,
It's a really
Instagram.
good. No, it's your website is really good. Like I was saying, just
This is
just
not
go
up to date.
just go to her website and check out the happy cuts. That stuff is really good. You have a couple of murals up there.
Yeah,
You need a
couple
mural
things.
section by now. Though
I
you've done
need
so
to
many.
redo my website
Yeah.
real bad.
Here, dude, just add more stuff, dude. Your website is very, yeah. I don't. I think
Thanks,
it's
Ilya.
really cool.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right, so go find her. Let's see. If you want to check out or find out more about Creative Theory Podcast, you can go to Instagram, Creative Theory Podcast. Yeah, Facebook, we're on there. I'm not making Twitter. I don't know how that thing works.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm, one day, you never know, but I don't think so. If you are missing out on your art dose next week, Snackcast, Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. They're amazing people, and it's really good. I think today I decided I'm going to take us out with this smooth thing. It's Rude
love it.
was Eternal Youth. So thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Bye.